Good evening, everyone, and welcome to round number 3 of the Performance Link Clio Cup, the Hot Hatch series we have here on Performance Link. Only 5 rounds available. Each round consists of 3 20-minute races. A big thank you to everyone joining us on YouTube, so a big shout out to you. Any comments you've got, please obviously put them into the comment box, and we'll try to get your shout outs or just get your opinions. We can see what when they're ready for the carnage. It's not been that bad. I think it's some dubious moves, but I think overall it's been very good. I mean, talking about obviously the last round out, Donington Park was, I think race 2 was brilliant. You know, the top 3 covered by 600ths of a second going across the line. I think that's what we really want in these hot hatches. A couple of incidents. We had quite a few penalties to go through on the pit stop on Wednesday for the Donington. The guys have hopefully been briefed on that, the mistakes. They understand what they were doing wrong, but yeah, it's something that should be a lot smoother tonight, but only time will tell. So round 3, we're here at Oulton Park, the historic island layout. So we got the very big hairpin at the end of the lakeside run. So that's certainly going to be a hotbed of action for this round, that's for sure. But my name's Andy Thompson. I'm joined by Tom being alongside me, myself doing the production. So Tom, welcome back. Obviously you missed Donington, which you fixed in Farmer Giles's tractor. Welcome back to the booth, mate.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, unfortunately, you know, real life does come into it, doesn't it? Evening, Craig. Yeah, it does come into account, of course. Everyone's got a real life job and all that sort of fun jazz, and mine's fixing machinery. So unfortunately, in summer, if people's stuff's broken, I got to fix it. I mean, you guys got to eat, right? So if I don't fix the machines, nobody eats. So it's a fairly fair trade off. But yeah, no, looking forward to this one. You know, back in the booth tonight. So Oulton Park circuit. Everybody knows it. It's a lot of undulations, plenty of ups and downs. No chicane tonight because you know, Clio's are spicy enough as it is. So yeah, really looking forward to getting into this one. And I don't know if anybody's been briefed on the epic jump at the end, but if anybody does decide to take the epic jump at the very end of the race, then extra bonus points all round for that one.
Oh, I wouldn't say that, Tom. They'll hold you to that, that's for sure. These drivers will try to get every single point that they can be. But talking about the points, let's have a look at the championship standings as it stands at the moment after 2 rounds. And Daniel Sedgley is at the top of the pro standings on 82 points. Thomas Wangen, after that early lead, is down to 72. Did get a 5-place penalty against him for round 2, so that's why he's a little bit off the pace, and we'll be starting from the pit, so it's going to be really interesting to see what he can do in this first race to get the points. Every single round in this champion scores, there's no drop rounds at all, so it's very much all about consistency. In 3rd place we got Kieran Smart on 64 points. 4th place we got Michael Goff from AKM Racing on 61. Alexander Scaret in 5th on 60. Lee King McGee are in 6th place on 59. Kim Andre Borkland in 7th on 49. Jens Goosens in 8th, and Lars Sorensen rounds out the field of 9 in the pros with 24 points. Over to the Pro-Ams then. So at the top we got Stuart Winnes giving an early lead at the moment, 11 points over Craig Salter in 2nd place on 73. Steve Pearce in 3rd place on 72. Tom Heritage in 4th place on 71. Gordon Haig in 5th on 62. Leah Anderson in 6th on 55. And Derek Crowther, who was leading the way, had a pretty much terrible second round and is not here tonight as well. So yeah, you know, you've got to be in it to win it, I suppose, at the end of the day. And I'm looking at other drivers not going to be in from that Pro-Am field. I believe Steve Pearce and Tom Heritage is not available to join, so that'll give a real good opportunity for Gordon Haig and Leah Anderson to move up that leaderboard in that Pro-Am field. Moving across to the AMS then, let's have a look at the AMS standings. So currently leading the way is Paul Joseph Clist on 79 points. Vega Olsen in 2nd place on 72. Alex Patrizio in 3rd place on 70 points. Stuart Gibbons in 4th with 64. Andy King McGee in 5th on 61. Yves Fredericks in 6th on 58, with Nathan Maximim in 7th place on 43 points. So really changed around in that Anfield last round. Paul Joseph Clist had a really good round. He got two, I think he got two wins and a 2nd place overall there. If we move across to the team championship, and all change again there as well at the top. Olympus Esports has moved to the top of the pile on 161 points, followed closely by Track Scotland on 159. In 3rd place, RGL Coatings, raced by Sunday Traffic Skull on 134, joined with Sim Racing Norway there in 4th. AKM Racing in 5th on 126, with Blade Designs in 6th place on 118, with Rock Racing in 7th place overall. So that is the points as we stand at the moment. A limited field, only 15 drivers, and looking at them, we've got 6 pros, 5 Pro-Ams and 4 Ams, so there's some really good valuable points overall to be made out on track.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing I mean, the Anfield, for example, you know, with only 4 drivers showing up this evening, it's going to be really exciting to see who is going to miss out on a podium spot. I mean, we're guaranteed 3 people on the podium, so it's going to be interesting to see which one of them loses out big time in that sort of region. But you know, with summer, everybody knows summer's a bit of a down edge, isn't it? With as far as sim racing goes for a lot of people, so everyone out and about doing their own thing, and with the nice weather, people want to go out and play. So hopefully that's not going to last too long, and everyone comes back to sit in their rigs and sweat a little bit. But looking forward to Clio's tonight, and hopefully we're going to have some epic battling either way. Yeah,
it certainly is. It's certainly going to be a little bit sweaty into the summer months. Certainly in these races, 20 minutes just full on. Pedal to the metal. We've increased the fuel slightly in the Clio, so we've taken away the possibility of the pit stops, which it was very much a Marmite situation, I think, with the drivers. And to be fair, we were looking at a series where you didn't really have to pit for a 20-minute race, so we've upped the fuel slightly to sort of take that one away. Some of the drivers are liking it, some of the drivers not, but well, us being the admins, we can do the series how we see it, and that is very much how we did at the start of it. But Oulton Park is probably one of my favourite tracks here on iRacing, that and Watkins Glen. So it's going to be a great combination tonight with these little Clio Cups, giving them the majority of the track here at Oulton Park. The only difference is, as we currently stay on board with Kieran Smart, is about just before the end, where you would normally turn left to go into Shellow's corner. There's a rather kinking hairpin, as the guys watching the guys go through it now, that literally joins back onto Hilltop, and then the rest of the track in Oulton. But we will take you round a driver's view of the track when we get out in qualifying, just so you can see the layout if you're not very much familiar. But it's a classic and a very much a staple track as well, from all beginners of iRacing all the way up to pros now, I think.
Yeah, definitely. It's you know, Oulton has so many different layouts that it doesn't matter really what kind of car, as opposed to I suppose if you go out in LMPs, it wouldn't be too much fun. But you know, it's really really synonymous with touring cars, for example. Almost all touring car leagues out there are visiting at least one of the big UK tracks, and you know, Oulton is a staple, isn't it, of UK racing. So with this layout we have tonight, you know, yes, we are missing out on the Shell Oils corner, so they're not going to have that ginormous right-handed banking corner. It's a bit more of a flat one. As you come down Lakeside, you've got to take that a lot more carefully than you would as opposed to flying into Shell. But you know, we're not missing out on some of the crucial corners that make this track what it is. You know, we've got the Old Hall corner, which is the first right-hander you take after the start-finish line. You know, you've got to push that really hard, feed wide out, try not to run out onto the grass. There's a lot of Astro sort of area on the edge, so you'll see drivers sending it really, really wide there. And if they do go on the grass, you know, they've got to make sure they can get it stopped as they come down the hill into Cascades. So, you know, Cascades is a really famous corner at Oulton, so it's going to be exciting to see who's going to be brave and send it into there.
It certainly is, as we're watching Daniel Segelier doing an unorthodox entry into the pit lane there. And Daniel's really come on strong and obviously capitalised slightly on the mishaps that we had in that Donington Park, where we had Thomas Wangen and Kieran Smart getting caught up in the first race, then obviously winning the second race over Thomas Wangen and Kieran Smart again. Those three are the main protagonists really at the top of the pro stand. And then in the third race, unfortunately, had a bit of an incident with Thomas Wangen in the second corner, coming down through the Craner curves and sort of put pay. But, you know, he had a good recovery as well to get the point. So that's where it was. And obviously having that 5-point penalty against Thomas last time out has hurt him a little bit, but we're really going to see the credentials of the man. We know he's super quick. We saw him out in Brand's Indy layout and he was super quick, winning all three of the races. But now I think the rest of the field have got used to the car and are used to the setup of the car and are really starting to try and push him. So it's going to be interesting to see. He's got a pit lane start here for race number 1. Needs to try and get up the order, the batting order, to then obviously race 2 and 3 being back on the grid to be able to see what he can do. So it's going to be interesting to see what Thomas Wangen can do today. But the first win in the first race, if he does that, I mean, I would say I'd eat my hat, but I really won't. But it'll be a mark, considering when you got Daniel Sedgley and Kieran Smart that are probably going to scamper away a little bit and have a battle between themselves. But as we've seen out in previous rounds, the pros, they battle super hard out on track. And therefore, you know, are prone to slight sort of incidents that we saw in Donington Park. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I wasn't able to see the Donington race, but from what I heard from a lot of the guys in the Discord and all that sort of thing, it did sound like it was a bit of carnage, and I imagine a lot of people have come tonight to see more carnage. So it's going to be, it's going to be good to see the drivers obviously go out and battle and be aggressive and do what we love to see in Clios, but at the same time being respectful to other drivers and hopefully it doesn't go as crazy as it will last week. But we're on to qualifying and let's see what kind of times the guys can put in.
Yeah, it certainly is. As we 10 seconds in before we got qualifying. So the way the sessions tonight, they got 10 minutes, 3 laps maximum around this Oulton Park track layout for their qualifying times, and then they'll be placed in the order of qualifying. They'll have the first 20-minute race, then almost immediately going into the second, and the second will be the results of the first race with no reverse grid. And then we'll have a 5-minute break where the drivers can chill out and go and do whatever they want to do, and then we're into the last race of the last 20 minutes race of the season, so all the events. So yeah, it's going to be certainly an interesting one. Let's pick a driver to have a look on. So we'll go on board. Let's go on board with Stuart Winness for this. Just let him do his outlap, and then we can have a look around here. But it's going to be an interesting one. And who's your money on, Tom?
I'd like to see Simeon do well tonight. He's had a bit of rotten luck lately, and in the GT3 Cup he had a bit of rotten luck over the weekend. So I'd like to see him put in a good show tonight. But loads of these drivers are incredibly quick. It might not be a big field, but the amount of talent that is in that field is extremely large. Even down towards our AM class, the drivers in AM are still incredibly quick drivers. So it's really anybody's race with Clios. But yeah, Simeon, if he does well tonight, I'll be well chuffed.
Definitely is. We see Matthew there in the chat. Matthew, hello, mate. And wondering when you're going to be stopped watching and see you on track. We haven't seen you on track yet this season. It would be good to get the full quota of the Track Scotland guys in, because I've got big expectations of you when you finally do decide to hit us. But let's have a look around a lap here at Oulton Park. Coming up to turn number 1, Old Hall Corner. Very tricky one, and really can use a lot of the track on the outside before coming down into Denton's turn number 2. Before hard on the brakes through turn number 3, Cascades, literally feathering that throttle, using all the track in this car, is accelerating up through Lakesides down into turn number 4, the hairpin. You need to be really all the way over to the left, trying to hug the apex and using all the track on the exit a little bit wide there from Stewart coming out of the hairpin turn number 3 before coming up over Hilltop and then coming down into the normal layout, if you know Oulton, that you would come to love. Coming down into turn number 5, Knickerbrook, one of them fast corners around here, easy to get wrong, and as soon as you get your wheels off on the outside on the left hand side there, it could be causing trouble. Coming up into Clay Hill now, through Water Tower, down into Druids Corner, turn 8, the double right-hander here, just holding the feel. But I suppose in these cars, you'll be accelerating quite a lot, using all the track on the left-hand side, coming down the hill here into Lodge Corner, turn number 9. Another tricky one. You really got to hold when you get back onto the throttle because it's so easy to spin, but a little bit more forgiving in these Clios as we watch Stewart coming across the line for his first flying lap. And what did he get? There he goes. He's third place now with a 129.943. But always good to get the bankers in nice and early, isn't it, Tom? So then you've only got 3 laps to get it done, so you need to get them in straight away.
Yeah, everybody knows that qualifying isn't my strong point. I think I say that every single week, every stream that I'm on. And anybody that knows me knows that I'm crap at qualifying. But it is important, obviously, to try and get that banker lap in as soon as you can. You don't want to be at the back of the field, especially with things as spicy as they are in the Clio Cup, for example, or even in bigger fields. You know, you don't want to be throwing yourself all the way down there just by making a silly mistake and running off on the grass. So, you know, take that first lap, put something in a little bit quick if you can. Don't get any off tracks, put in that banker lap, that will secure you a spot on the grid, and then you can start to give yourself a bit of breathing room to then push for the following laps. It's nothing worse than getting an off track on your warm-up lap, getting another off track, and then you've got one final lap left to try and push and make amends. As we see Craig Salter there, just running it a little bit too deep, and unfortunately that'll be an off track, and that will be a lap discredited for him.
Certainly is, but currently the stands, Kimon Joe Bortland's top of the pile with a 128.942. Alexander Square in second, 660 thousandths of a second, hundredths of a second behind at the moment. Alex Patricio, the AM driver, very quick driver there in third place. Craig Salter in fourth, Lee King McGee in fifth. Olsen in 7th, and there we see Gordon Haig going to 2nd overall in the standings at the moment. Stuart Wines currently lying in 9th place on the moment, but does have a couple more laps, not that far off. You can see how close the timing tower is. It's, well, less than a second now, just splitting the top 9 drivers out on track. So Thomas said we had the wrong setup for qualifying. It's actually the original setup for qualifying, just to keep the fuel level down a little bit for the qualifying for what you're used to. But the race setting will be the 26 litres. So that's the difference that we have done in there. We've left the old qualifying setup as it was and changed the race setup to have that extra 5 litres. Doesn't sound like a lot, but when drivers were coming over the line with like 0.2 of a litre left in the previous races, we're trying to do a little bit of fuel saving. There's still maybe a bit of fuel saving elements going in there, but it will certainly be a lot less of an issue.
Yeah, it's the thing with qualifying. You know, it's, as we said it before, I just don't understand how some of the drivers can push this hard on this kind of setup on the Clios. You know, we've made this setup incredibly spicy for these guys, and it's not a surprise that we're seeing off tracks and incidents as well. So riding on board at the moment with Leah Anderson, she's our only female driver rocking that lovely Elmo livery. So, you know, big up Sesame Street. It is Sesame Street, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Okay, good.
Elmo.
Yeah, good old Elmo. I think I might have to rock a Cookie Monster livery next time, because that will be the Performance Link esports colours. So that's a good tip from her, and I might have to implicate that next time.
It definitely is, but the top 11 there literally covered by a half a second overall between that. So super competitive as always in this Clio Cup here, and you know, you see there Leah Anderson getting within a second now, and Paul Joseph Cliss within 0.6 So super close. Andy McGee at the moment 7 seconds off. So really having a conservative outlap. And like you say, not seeing Thomas Wangen on that starting pile because he does have a pit lane start here for the qualifying. So it's certainly going to be interesting. It looks like the majority of the drivers have possibly done their 3 laps already. A lot of the drivers are in the pits. There's only 2 out at the moment, Paul Joseph Clist and Andy King McGee. But we'll have a look and see what Paul can do. He is our current leader in the AM field at the moment, after having a rather good second race in Donington. Or second complete race really in Donington. Really getting to grips with the fuel saving aspect of it. I think that really caught a lot of the drivers out really in that first race. Certainly doing your practice really paid off around there, because you would have known that you couldn't have done a full vat. And we saw the penultimate lap, literally half of the field came into the pit stops to do a splash and dash. So he really profited on that, doing his little bit of homework. It still may be the homework side of it, but it's going to be a lot less of a telling, like I said, by putting them extra few litres in the car there. So we can see Paul Joseph Clist currently in P12. Half a second, that is him done his 3 laps, and that is pretty much everyone now done their 3 laps. So the grid that you can see there is the starting positions for race number 1. We've currently got a minute and a half left here. Kieran Smart to the top of the pile, Dan Sedgley in second. The 2 main protagonists are going to be out front, but it's going to be interesting to see what Thomas Wangen can do coming through the field.
Yeah, he's going to have to be super aggressive, isn't he, Thomas? And at the same time, feeling that little bit of pain from having to start from the pits. You know that you've got to be aggressive, but not too aggressive, because you're just going to end up in a pit lane start next week again. So he is a fantastic driver. We have him in our GT3 league as well, and he's he's just phenomenal. I don't think I've seen a driver as strong and as reliable as he is for a long time. So he's he's one of those guys that puts in hundreds and hundreds of laps of practice, and that's no exaggeration. He shows us that he's putting in 250 laps, for example, on certain tracks, but then that does mean he's out there in front and leading the race by a good margin. So very strong driver, and hopefully good luck to him today. It's going to be interesting. We'll see what happens.
Definitely is. So looking at the weather, the track temperature is a bit tasty, 37 degrees centigrade. So a hot track for this very first race. It should start cooling down as the second and third races go in. But when you get to around about that 37 up to 40, that's when the track comes a little bit more slippy. So the drivers really need to just be aware of that when they're coming into this first lap. Certainly the first lap, where the tyres are going to be cold, they're going to be naturally take longer to get out anyway. So it's going to be an interesting first race here with a track temperature of 37 as we saw it go down to 36.
Yeah, just a little bit of clouds rolling in there, typical English weather. If iRacing had got their backsides in gear, it would start raining, but we're still holding on for that. And hopefully it comes out soon.
Yeah, definitely is. So we're going over to the grid. In first place, we've got Kieran Smart with Dan Sedgley in second. Kim Andre Bortland in third. Alexander Scarrett in fourth. Lee King McGee in fifth, with Thomas Wangen in sixth place. Gordon Haig is in first. In fact, I will change that to overall. Let me change that to overall. There we go. That's probably a better way to do it. So we got there Gordon Haig in fourth, Alexander Square in fifth, Alex Patrizio in sixth, Lee King McGee in seventh, Stuart Wood in eighth, Craig Salter in ninth, Fergal Olsen in 10th, Simeon Mordecai in 11th, and Paul Joseph Clist in 12th place. In 13th, we got Leah Anderson, and 14th, Andy King McGee, and then in 15th at the back, starting from the pit lane, is Thomas Wangen in this first race overall. So it's going to be interesting here out on track as we get all gridded up. There will be like a minute and a half because obviously Thomas will not be joining it, so we'll be using the maximum amount of time that is available to them here in the pit stops. But we can see all the wonderful liveries on display as well. But at the front and the left there, you can see Daniel Sedgley, and on the right, you can see Kieran Smart. So That inside line into the first corner sometimes can really pay off at this track. It all depends on the start that Kieran can get to get that faster line around the outside through Old Hall Corner, coming down for the very first time. But with all the cars being super close together, one of the ones that I'm probably a little bit nervous about is turn number 4, the hairpin down at the end of the Lakeside Straight after Cascade. So that's going to be an interesting corner, but it's going to be a good one. A depleted field of only 15 cars, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be some amazing racing out on track as the lights indeed do come on for the very first race here. 20 minutes to go and we are away, and a decent start there from Kieran and Daniel alongside, but Daniel's trying to get over just behind them, tucks in behind there of Kieran Smart before they come around the first corner of Old Hall Corner. There's no real movements up or down the field. Seemingly Motorclef has managed to get a place. Lee Kim McGee has managed to get past Alex Patricio for P6 overall as we come down here into Cascades for the first time as we look further back, and we're looking now on board with Stuart Winness, currently our leader in the Pro-Am field, down in 7th place, being followed by his teammate but different class, Alex Patricio of Truck Scotland. Coming down here into turn number 4 for the very first time. Lots of alternate lines there and super wide there from the AKM Lee King McGee, losing a place there coming around the hairpin, but taking it nice and clean, but all in a nicely long single file coming down Hilltop through Knickerbrook. It's going to be a little bit of a tasty corner, this one, certainly on the first lap. You see the cars going extremely wide there, and Kim Andre Borkland just getting slightly off grass, but managing to keep it. And that's probably one of the things about these cars, is that they're super agile and they can really be a little bit easier on any mistakes that you do make in this car. But all relatively through this very first lap, so the drivers have been listening as we go down the 2 Lodge corner for the very first time there, and Lee King McGee just trying to get past the position. But we're looking here at Stuart Winness having a look at Gordon Haig over the start finish line, so it's side by side into turn number 1 here. You got Stuart Winness on the left hand side, Gordon Haig on the right, and looks like I said, that inside line slightly a little bit of a bump in there coming around Old Hall Corner, but all still managing to point the same way and still going out on track.
Yeah, Stuart Ness doing a fantastic job there. They've really got to watch out for Lee King McGee. We know he's an incredibly spicy driver in the GT3 series. He's not going to take it easy, and hopefully he's learnt his lesson from lap 1 coming into the hairpin here. So they don't have that banking, as we talked about before, that you normally get with Shell Oils. And he runs deep. Oh, and he runs incredibly deep. So he's gone off the map even. And oh my goodness, yeah, he's going to be doing a bit of a turnaround there. But Stuart Winness and Gordon and Alex are just keeping it on track at the moment and trying to catch up with some of the front runners.
Yeah, let's have a look at see what happened to Lee King McGee there. Literally, we'll go on board with him coming around Cascades here. And then the short sprint up. And I think the problem is here is we've got drivers with, obscuring the view of where you brake. He's trying to brake hard, realizing he's not making it, goes completely forward. And yeah,
he locks it up.
He certainly does. That's one of the things you do not want to be doing. And as you can see now, stone cold last in this race.
Yeah, so for some of the people watching that may not have watched the Clio Cup Series before, just to let you know, the Clios do not have ABS braking, so you aren't able to just mash the pedal and get yourself slowed down like you are in, say, the GT3s, for example. These cars are they're incredibly difficult to drive on the brakes. Everything else, it's quite forgiving and quite fun. They're very point and shoot with a hint of oversteer to the setup, but on those brakes, you've got to be incredibly careful. If you lock them up and you start sliding, as we saw there with Lee King McGee, you're heading off the circuit. So it's going to be exciting to see if the guys can keep it together. So riding on board at the moment with Leah Anderson. Looks like she's got Olsen Leah for a bit of company, who's pushing her a little bit hard there, but doesn't seem to have the run coming down into the hairpin.
3 minutes into this race number 1, coming down to the hairpin again for the 3rd time here, and Leah Anderson's currently in P4 in that rookie field with the timing tower. So just to run through the colours on the left hand side, the red indicates the pro drivers, the green is the Pro-Am, and the blue are the Am drivers. As we can see there, Thomas Wangan at the moment not really making up a lot of room. We can see him there down in 13th place, 3 seconds off the back, and I suppose that's the problem with starting out in the pit lane, is you're already on a massive disadvantage. But Yeah, if you do the crime, you got to do the time, as they say. But he is making short work of trying to get onto the back of Craig Salter in P12, and then the field's all nicely bunched up. So it should have a nice, easy run up to say 7th place, and then there's a little bit of a gap, 3.4 seconds between Simeon Moldiclev in 6th and Gordon Haig. There is looks like, yeah. So they're just having a nice. Sorry, Stuart Winness in 5th and Gordon Haig now in 6th place, so 3.5 seconds. Back out at the front, we got Kieran Smart, who's managed to sort of get a little bit away from Dan Sedgley in 2nd place to the tune of 1.3 seconds. And then Dan Sedgley's got Kim Andre Bortland in 3rd and Alexander Scorette in 4th. As you can see there, 0.7 between Kim Andre Bortland and Daniel Sedgley, but only 0.3 of a second between Kim Andre Bortland and Alexander Scorette. So let's have a look at on board with Alexander Scorette as they go over Hilltop here for the 4th time. Coming down into turn number 5, the tyres have been nicely warmed up now, so they can start pushing it a little bit more. But this corner here is a really tricky one. You literally put your wheels onto the inside curb there to let the car naturally run out, and that was a great corner there taken from Alexander Scorette there of IGL Coatings. Coming up here into Druids Corner, turn number 8, the double right-hander getting on the power nice and early. You can see Kim Andre Bortland got that slightly wrong, went a little bit wide, so this could be an opportunity here for a pass and move coming down here into Lodge Corner, nearly side by side. You've got Alexander Scorette on the inside who should get the move done and does, and that's a fine margins in these Clio Cups. Very much like the Mazda, you've got to try to maintain that flow-in speed through corners, and unfortunately you saw there Kim Andre Bortland got it slightly wrong.
Yeah, momentum, you know, it is the absolute crucial thing with these slower paced cars. They don't have that big engine up front in order to propel you and get up to speed as quickly as possible. So slipstream, for example, and also maintaining a good rhythm is absolutely crucial in these Clios. So running on board with Alex Patrizio for Track Scotland at the moment. He's got Simeon Moldiclev and Gordon Haig riding up in front of him. He's doing his absolute best to maintain that sort of grip there coming through Cascades. Not running too wide, being sensible, keeping those off tracks to a minimum, but he is gaining hard on Simeon Moldiclev as he looks to run it around the outside, and he thinks better of it. But Simeon's locked up, and he contacts his own. He contacts Gordon Haig there, his own teammate, and that allows Alex Patrizio for Track Scotland to just sail on by. And a bit of a mistake there for those guys, but unfortunately, you know, it works out bad for some, and it works out well for others.
Yeah, you see Simeon Moldiclev there doing exactly the same what Lee King McGee done a few laps earlier, and really putting pay to his race of getting back up the track here to get back on there. But exactly like you said, because they haven't got ABS, you know, you lock the brakes up, you are going nowhere, and unfortunately took himself out and one of his teammate Veilgar Olsen, I think it was, that was the other driver, the sim race. No, it was Gordon Haig. So he managed to survive a little bit better. Currently battling it out, as you can see at the top of the screen here with Leah Anderson, but that's really taking out 2 drivers over what is should be a well-known area of track to be particularly cautious on. But I suppose when you're battling in the heat of it, see Leah Anderson on the inside here with Gordon Haig trying to go around the outside. We'll have the overspeed, but obviously we'll put Leah on the inside for coming down into Cascade. So the side-by-side here, coming down to Cascade here. Leah just tucking up behind, so Gordon got that overspeed coming round the Old Hall corner, turn number 1, and managing to make the move stick here. So where Leah had a little bit of time, she's now embroiled in the battle between Thomas Wangen. As you can see, he's making his way back up the field, coming around the outside there of Leah Anderson, and giving a little bit of room. Oh no, it's contact made.
Yeah, contact made there. It looked like just gave her the old pit manoeuvre, and that's unfortunately pushed Leah Anderson off, and she may have some suspension damage there from contacting the barrier. Oh, it looks like she's had to return to the pits with that car. Unfortunate move, but sometimes, you know, that's what happens in racing, and I imagine that will be going towards the stewards.
I would imagine it would, but let's have a look. Let's have a look, see if we can see what happened here. Let's have a look. So here we go, coming down into the hairpin. Thomas Wangen there on the outside, both going around to the outside. Both cars come round, both trying to take the same line really there. So yeah, it's an unfortunate. Probably going side by side through the hairpin is probably not the bravest move that a driver should do.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Leah there as she, tucks tail and heads back to the pits. But 2 more races to go. We've got another 20-minute sprint and obviously the final feature race. So hopefully she can put in some decent laps there. But Thomas Wangen is certainly on a charge. He's moved up now 8 positions from his starting. Oh, Daniel Sedgley making a very strange move there, and an unfortunate contact in the background as well.
Yeah, that was a replay of earlier of Dan Sedgley losing that second place from going through the treacherous Snickerbrook. Literally got his wheels onto the grass too much, came out wide. Can he get it going? Has he got a little bit of damage out on track as he gets the car going? But that is him from second down into 11th place overall at the moment.
Yeah, unfortunate for Daniel there. Just a sit rep I was mentioning before with Thomas Wangen. He's now moved up 8 places, working his way up towards the front of that field. He's been putting in some phenomenal laps. His fastest lap was a 1:28.5. And to put that in perspective, Kieran Smart, our current race leader for Track Scotland, his fastest lap was a 1:28.7. So not a massive margin, just 0.2, but these little bits here and there, you can make it up fairly quickly. And Thomas Wangen is certainly on a charge.
He certainly is, and he's already onto the back of Gordon Haig here in P7th. But you can see the timings now getting a little bit stretched out in the field. The battle we're watching at the moment is Thomas Wangen in the back, started from the pit lane in this first race, really trying to get up as far as he can in this race. He does have plenty of time, currently just tipping over into the 11 minutes, so still 9 minutes left for him to try and make up a few positions. But after this car, he tries to get past Gordon Haig here. He's got a 4-second gap to Alex Patricio in 5th place, so the gaps are a little bit longer, but then if he can manage to jump that gap, Stuart Winness is not that far up the road, but currently leading the way there in the Pro Anfield. So that was Thomas Wangen there, getting past Gordon Haig for P7th? No, that was Vergar Olsen, sorry.
Gordon,
it is, he's still trying, isn't he?
Yeah, Gordon managed to hold him off there. Thomas Wangen tried to go for the round the outside like he did on Elmo. The Elmo car of Lee Anderson, but looking incredibly racy now as they're running side by side heading down the hill. Is he gonna? Oh, and he squeaks it through on the inside. Fantastic move there by Thomas.
There we go. Now he is up to 6th place. 4.5 seconds. You can see the cars in front of him, so it does have a marker to try and go, but really putting the hammer down here. His last lap was a 1:28.7, whereas the first place is 1:29.6. So certainly the fastest man out on track. And in fact, I think we do have his camera, so let's see how the cool, calm Thomas Wangen is looking in his rig. What pictures has he got today? There we go. We got a sort of side view with his brand new wheel. He's trying out here for the first time, but a great setup that Thomas has. But he is certainly on a charge. 4 seconds now, and the timing is coming down to well, now it's Kim Andre Bortland, because you can see there Alex. Let's have a look at that battle further up. Alex Patricio having a look there really at Kim Andre Bortland. Kim managing to get the overspeed, as you saw. Alex going slightly off track down Lakeside, which would have lost him a little bit of speed, but he's certainly racing 0.1 of a second behind Kim Andre Bortland. He's going to have a look here for Nickelblock inside outside. Kim going super defensive. This is going to scrub a lot of speed off his trap, so will Alex be able to do the overtake here coming up through Clay Hill, turn number 7? Not quite. I suppose the problem is he's got Kim Andre Bortland taking them defensive lines in front of him, and unfortunately you can't just go through it. But side by side here through, Druids can Alex get the cutback or try and get an alternate line to get the speed there? A little bit of contact, but this is pain. Oh, look how much Thomas Wangen has caught up to this driver in this pack now. He is going down the inside, and that is how you do it, gentlemen. There's 2 for 1 in as much as 1 corner.
Absolutely unbelievable. He went for the double there and he made it stick. So, absolutely working the bejeebies off those brakes there. Fantastic move by Thomas Wangen, but Alex Patricio still hanging on here and just about working his way in front of Kim. But Kim's going to fight back on the inside. They're running side by side as they're heading down towards Cascades. This never normally ends well in most races, being fairly respectful. And Kim gets through, and they... and he's going to get taken again by another car of the same team. Oh, and that's a fairly defensive move, but unfortunately for Alex there, the guy's he's weaving left and right trying to get through, but there is a very large roadblock in front of him, and that's a bit of a contact. He's going to get it stopped. Oh, and he nearly takes out his teammate. Oh, gosh, there's a bit of carnage in the Clios.
There certainly is there, and Alex was literally trying to get out into some space. The Sim Racing Norway team, one in front, one to his side, didn't really have a lot of places to go, and unfortunately hit into Kim Andre Borkland there, and unfortunately Kim went straight off at the hairpin, so he will lose a lot of positions. So that's 3 cars I think we've had go down that slip road there at the hairpin at turn number 4, and he's just the latest of a long succession of drivers, and I'm pretty sure that we will have a lot more as well in there. And I mean, what a recovery drive for Thomas Wangen, up to 4th place, up 11 places from starting from the pits here, trying to chase down now Stuart Winness. 7 seconds is the gap, so it may be a little bit too much for him to do here, but he's certainly on a charge, and Alex Patricio has certainly been racing. He is he's one of them drivers as well in the Anfield, but extremely quick, but prone to like getting involved with a lot of instances, which has really affected his points here. But at the moment, he is the top AM driver. So we'll score some very valuable points in there. As we can see, the next AM is Vegard Oulton in 8th place there, the Sim Racing Norway team member in 2nd place in that AM, being closely followed by Daniel Sedgley after his earlier spin. You can see there Vegard just giving Daniel a little bit of room to make that move. So Daniel's trying to get his charge back up after his earlier incidents coming through Knickerbrook and very much spinning the car. So very much on a recovery drive himself is Daniel Sedgley. So he's currently up into P8, down 6 places from where he started out in this first race.
Yeah, doing a fantastic job at the moment. I was just going to say with Thomas Wangen, for example, being leading up and catching up to the front runners and doing a fantastic job there. I do wonder, is being this aggressive going to put pay to his race? You know, that move on Leah was awfully tasty, and you know, I do worry that there'll be a steward inquiry with that one that obviously we'll be having on our weekly podcast on Wednesdays. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame really that he couldn't keep it a little bit cleaner and allow Leah to carry on. But running on board at the moment, Alexander Scrett for IGL Coatings, so Thomas's teammate, running currently in P2, a little ways off Kieran Smart, you know, a good 3.6 seconds at the moment. I don't think he'll be able to reel that in. Kieran is looking awfully racy today, but it's I just can't get over that move on Leah. I do worry for Thomas.
It is. I mean, he has to be sort of aggressive to a degree to try and get up, but we won't hypothesize on it here in the commentary booth. That can be left to the stewards when they do the pit stop to have a look at that if Leah protests that one. But we can see there Leah deciding to had enough of this race with that incident. I think, you know, Donington Park was probably not a good race for her either. As well, so coming back in to see if she could get better and gets almost as involved in another incident to be able to sort of see that as well. So maybe you should, Leah. I know you say you don't protest, but maybe you should, and you know, it's one to look out for everyone else. But yeah, it's a bit unfortunate there. Leah was going around nicely up at the front, and then obviously we had the 2 that came off around the hairpin at turn number 4 that really closed up the field again, and there was the big gaggle of cars as we normally come to see. But what that's done is given us a real big spread out of the field here in this first race. You can see probably one of the closest battles, Alex Patricio, Gordon Haig. We're currently on board with Daniel Sedgley trying to make his recovery drive after his earlier spin through Knickerbrook to be able to do so. He does have Craig Salter in his sights at the moment, but won't be losing massive amounts of points because obviously Thomas Wangen, who is his main protagonist, as well as Kieran Smart. Kieran Smart is winning this, so it will claw some valuable points back in that championship. Was a little bit off the way of Thomas Wangen and Daniel Sedgley, but being first place will certainly tighten up the pro field at the top if it was to finish as it is. And we've currently only got a minute left in this first race, so yeah, I think it pretty much is.
Yeah, running into this final minute, I did mention earlier that I'd like to see Simeon do well, but unfortunately he's not pushing too hard in this round, unfortunately. So not a good day at the races for him either. But Gordon Haig at the moment still trying to track down Alex Patrizio in front. He's looking awfully quick as he goes hard on the brakes here, doing everything he possibly can, trying to get that slight inside line, get a slightly better exit, and head up past the start finish line into Old Hall Corner, and then hopefully he can get some slipstream here, run it really hard into Cascades, and with the final lap, with the final lap now, it's going to be a hard order for him, but definitely looking hard and trying to get some places up.
Yeah, certainly is. Kieran Smart's pretty much had it all his own way this race after the earlier exit of Daniel Sedgley. He's pretty much been out on his own to be able to make sure that he can just follow the lines that he wants to, put himself under no pressure, and taking what will be probably a relatively easy win in this first race here at Oulton Park after Thomas Wangen started from the pit lane, so therefore had to try and fight his way back through the field, currently up there in P4th. Daniel Sedgley had an incident following quite closely with Kieran Smart, although was slightly getting off the back of Kieran Smart. Had an incident through turn number 5 Knickerbrook and put pay to his race. So very much been an easy drive here in this first one. I wonder how race 2 would go. But our winner here in race number 1 is Kieran Smart of Track Scotland. And a well-deserved second place really for Alexander Scarrett as well. It's normally the three normal protagonists at the front, but nice to see Alex getting a podium here in the first one. Stuart Winness, after the early incidents, coming over in third place overall and first place in the Pro-Am field. Thomas Wangen coming home in fourth place. Alex Patrizio, great fifth place and well ahead of the rest of the Am field. You can see there the nearest Am driver is Vegard Olsen in P number 9th overall, so some valuable points for him in that championship, with Paul Joseph Cliss coming home in third place. Lee King McGee obviously had his little spin or overshoot, shall I say, down in turn number 4. So did Simeon Modoklev, so did Kim Andre Borkland. So a few casualties of turn 4. But that is the end of the first one, and this second one will be coming in thick and fast. So we'll probably take you through the results, and the results will be the final finishing places. Where is Kim actually? Is he going super slow or something? No, I think he might have finished, but I'm not sure why the timing tower is saying he's not. But let's have a look. Nope, there we go. We got finally in. So let's get the results up. First place, Kieran Smart. In second place, Alexander Scarrett. In third place, our top Pro-Am driver, Stuart Winness. Thomas Wangen from the back of the grid in pit lane into fourth. Alex Patricio in fifth. Gordon Hagen sixth. Daniel Sedgley in seventh after his early spin around Knickerbrook. Craig Salter in eighth. Vegard Olsen in ninth. Lee King McGee in 10th. Paul Joseph Clist in 11th, with Simeon Modoklev in 12th. Going down the field in 13th, we've got Kim Andre Bortland, Andy King McGee in 14th, and Leah Anderson after that earlier issue at the tail end of the grid. So the cars will be lining up now for the second race, and it's pretty much through the rest of the grid that we literally just went through. Will be the starting positions here for race number 2 as we look out, and the cars are getting out on there, just waiting for Kieran Smart, and be good to see if Leah joins us here in the second race. You should join Leah just to get out on track again as the lights come on for the second 20-minute race here. And we've got Alexander Scarrett, and Kieran Smart did not take the field here, so has been demoted to the back of the grid. So I'm not sure what happened there, but as we see the cars there coming around the first corner, Alexander Scarrett now leading the way. Stuart Winness up 1 for P. Oh, there's a big hit there through Old Hall Corner, and we see Kieran just getting just getting spun around there. We'll have a look and see what happened there, but looks like slight bit of contact through the Old Hall Corner, and that really will put pay to his second race here. Is he still actually going? Yes, he is. And You can see how strong these little Clios are. Doesn't look like a lot of damage. I don't know if there's any damage out on track. No, his car looks like it's tracking well. It's probably just the spin effect that he did have there, but he is currently in P12 overall, and looks like Kieran Smart has not come out for this second race. A race winner there in the first race has not come out. Thomas Wangen has managed to make his way up into second place, so behind his teammate Alexander Scoret.
Yeah, interesting to see that we're having accidents already in the first couple of corners. I mean, that's one thing with Clio's. Everybody gets a bit aggressive, gets a bit spicy, but that did seem like an incredibly strong contact, considering it was quite a straight part of the track. So it will be interesting to jump back and have a look at that. But Thomas Wangen now not starting from the pit lane as we go to the instant replay. So we're riding on board right now with Stuart Winness of Track Scotland. Let's see if we can see what happens in the background. So everyone's getting a little bit close, a little bit dicey, looking for their line. Trying to take it fairly cautiously. Stuart Winness there is just looking to push the outside. Oh, and he just does not see the other IGL Coatings car on the outside there. Gets unfortunate pit stop maneuver, and there's some awful contact in the distance there as one of the other drivers ends up hitting the barrier on the right side. So it would be surprising if they haven't received some sort of suspension damage or steering damage of sorts from that. So we all know that the tyre wall themselves are fairly forgiving, but the barriers, they are not.
No, certainly not. It did look like it was another incident involving Thomas Wangen. Again, pretty much very much similar to the first race out there, but we'll have a look. Or we won't hypothesize again onto that one. We can leave it down to the drivers to put their protest in. That would all get viewed on the pit stop on face value of what they are. So let's get back to the racing here. Thomas Wangen is trying to follow his teammate Alex Scoret here in third place. Daniel Setchley currently in third, so he has managed to get up 4 places from where he started out on track. So a great start for him in this second race, and following his main rival in front, Thomas Wangen, 1.3 seconds is the difference at the moment. Looking further back, Lee King McGee is heading out a big train of cars here. Or shall I say Alex Patrizio, and then you've got Lee King McGee, Craig Salter, Gordon Hay, Kim-Andre Borkland, all following on, and that is the group that we are currently watching on the stream here. Let's just make sure that Lee King McGee can stop down into the hairpin and doesn't shoot off again, but looks extremely spicy in the battle at the background here. Let's go on board with Gordon Haig as he currently is at the back of this group. Got his teammate just in front of him and just comes out of nowhere, really. Should get the run on him down here through Lakeside into the hairpin, but does have the alternate line on the inside, so it's a battle of the teammates here.
Yeah, the teammates definitely pushing really hard. Unfortunately, compromised his line a little bit, and that's allowed Gordon to progress out in the front. But they're not giving any room to each other. Looking now, running side by side as they're heading down Hilltop, as they're making their way into turn number 5, and then they're going to continue to battle all the way down Clay Hill into Druids as they think slightly better of it and just decide to tuck in and take it a bit easy. But it's interesting to see the groups that are together at the moment. I mean, we've got Alex Patrizio running far out again in the lead for the AMs. So putting in some fantastic laps and driving the socks off of it at the moment. So as we were just mentioning to Leah in the chat, it'd be great to see Elmer back on track. But if you're not looking to join us, then obviously we will miss you, and sorry about that. But we'll definitely see you out on the grid as soon as possible.
Yeah, definitely will. And we're looking back at Paul Joseph Cliffs, currently running around on his own, 3 seconds behind the battle we were just watching, behind Simeon Mudcap, and just see him going around turn number 1 there at the moment, running around at P10. Out on track, our current AM leader. Alex Patrizio certainly having the round of his life at the moment. Top AM driver, currently there in 4th place overall. Does have Lee King McGee behind him, then Craig Salter, Kim-Andre Bortland, Gordon Haig, and Simeon Monaco. So only mistake, and there is that mistake. Slightly going wide into the hairpin, loses 1 position to Lee King McGee, but can now just hook up onto the tail of him and trying again straight away, just trying to fight back to get that position. Super close. Coming down here, if we look onto the row bar of Alex's car coming through Knickerbrook here. So super racy is Alex here in Oulton Park.
Yeah, Alex is pushing the absolute limits there, running slightly onto the grass. Nearly got on 2 wheels, hitting the inside curb there. He's got Lee King McGee in his sights, and he's not slowing down for anything at the moment. So really pushing that Clio to the absolute limits as he runs a little bit wide there, collecting some of the green stuff on the outside. He's got to be careful he doesn't overdrive the car, overheat those tyres, and find himself slipping down the order. But we know that Lee King McGee is an incredibly fast driver in the GT3s and looking decent in the Clios tonight.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I think that's exactly right. Alex just needs to be aware that the rest of his class are at least 5 positions behind him, so just needs to be nice, clean, and concise. You can see in the background there the 4 cars battling it out for 6th place overall, so those 4 will naturally probably just trying to start slip up and trip over each other and lose time. So Alex just needs to cut the lines that he's doing, not trying to overdrive, not trying to get past Lee King McGee. Lee King McGee is obviously in the pro category based on his abilities, so you know, just try and keep up with him. You know, there could be a mistake coming. We have seen a mistake from Lee King McGee on the previous race, so don't try and do anything too much or too heroic, and just keep the lap times going. You got a bit of a decent gap, 2.1 seconds over Craig Salter. Let's look back at the back, and Craig's currently got Gordon Haig all over the back of him. Just trying to do a look from the rear view of Craig's car coming up through Clay Hill into the water tower, and you can just see how close Gordon Haig is in this second race. And Gordon seems to be doing quite well and really enjoying this Oulton Park track.
Yeah, Gordon's looking incredibly racy this race round. He's doing as much as he possibly can to catch Craig in front. Another driver that I wanted to mention as well who's having a better round is Simeon Moldeklev, just a little bit in the background there. Currently sitting in P3 in the Pro-Am, so finding himself on the podium for this race. Unfortunate in race 1, but yeah, today he's putting it to the tarmac.
Certainly is, and I suppose it's the differences you have with the sprint races and the longer races. There's a lot more calmer in the longer racing. Still wheel to wheel action, but you have that time to come back. I suppose that's the problems. Oh, as we see there in the background, Simeon Moldeklev, just after you mentioned, commentator cursed him. Literally going super wide, taking the alternate line down through Cascades. Didn't lose a position, but has lost a truckload of time now to the battle in front of Gordon Haig. So probably put himself there in an unenviable position to try and gain back them 4.3 seconds. So yeah, pretty much cemented 8th place at the moment, but does have Paul Joseph Gliss trying to chase him down. Kim Andre Borkland after his earlier mistake there in P10, so maybe caught up. Stuart Maness is still going around after the incident round turn number 1, doing all he can, going extremely wide through Nickelberg, just trying to get some positions back up here, but after that convincing win in that first round, finally finds himself in P11, so still some very valuable points. And all they need to make sure you still finish these races, considering there is no drop rounds at all. Looking back at the front, Thomas Wangen has managed to get past his teammate Alexander Scaret, and Alexander Scaret has just currently put the fastest lap, 128.49, so 0.4 of a second faster than Thomas Wangen in that last lap. But Daniel Sedgley now is on the back, all over the back end of Alexander Scaret, as we'll look on board here with him to see where he can, to see if he can get. But this is probably somewhere again that Alex hasn't found. Was that a little mistake there from Thomas Wangen? I saw some smoke coming into the hairpin that's sort of closed the gaps up slightly with these top 3. So these top 3 currently away at the moment from Lee King McGee, who's got Alex Patrizio at the back of him still, trying to get past him. So there's little pocket battles. You can see in the background there, Gordon Haig and Craig Salter coming into turn number 5 side by side. Craig on the inside here, Gordon on the outside. Is Gordon going to hit the grass on the outside? No, he doesn't. Is he going to be able to maintain the speed and try and get the overrun here on Craig? Because Craig was super close into that corner, so would have shaved a little bit of speed. But I suppose the position in the corners afterwards, Craig is able to position his car to be defensive and not get the opportunity for Gordon to make the passing move get done.
Yeah, Gordon's trying his absolute best there, as you see him running onto the grass. One thing you've got to do with these cars is you just can't overdrive them. Yes, you can be quite aggressive on the setup we have at the moment, but you push it a little bit too hard, and you find yourself either understeering out as you overheat the tires, or the back end can snap on you a little bit with these cars, as they have quite a short wheelbase. You know, they're not like the longest sort of GT3s or GT4 cars. You've got to be fairly careful. But one thing I did want to talk about is this turn number 4. Why does it not have a name? I mean, this corner has been absolutely infamous in this round.
I know, we have to make up a name for it. I don't know what we can do. We'll see if our viewers have got some apt names for it. So, and then we can start calling it, because it's a pretty savage hairpin, isn't it? Considering it's coming off one of the longest straights they've got here at Oulton Park, and then you're literally coming down, probably down into first gear around that corner to take a very tight hairpin before you try and accelerate out up and over the hilltop. So it's a pretty savage corner around this historic island layout here at Oulton Park. But just looking at the battle at the top of the tree at the moment, Alexander Square managing to keep hold of the tailgates of Thomas Wangen, who's currently in first place. Daniel Sedgley is now 0.2 of a second behind Alexander Square, so we'll be feeling a little bit of pressure. He's got to try to defend for the best part of 8 minutes here in this second race. So is he going to be able to do it, or is the Olympus Esports driver Daniel Sedgley going to be able to make the leap into that second place and get a shot at Thomas Wangen for the race win here in race number 2? But looking down the field, we've got the little pocket battle. Lee King McGee and Alex Patrizio there having a good battle for 4th and 5th. Then you got 6th and 7th for Gordon Haig and Craig Salter still having a decent battle. And then looking further back, you got Simeon Moldeklev and Kim Andre Borkland having a little battle. So there's these 2-car battles from all the way from pretty much from 2nd all the way down to 9th place, with the cars fighting each other out on track. So some good battles, and see who can win overall out of them. The hairpin of doom. Yeah, it is for certainly a few of the drivers, I think, Mark.
Yeah, I think we'll have to start calling it that. I think that's definitely a name that's going to stick for the remainder of race 2 and also for race 3. But riding on board at the moment with Craig Salter, he's still got Gordon Haig riding right behind him for company. Gordon just has a fantastic exit out of that corner as they're heading down Clay Hill now, past Water Tower into Druids. Is he going to have enough speed here to dive it on the inside? No, not quite. He just can't seem to put the lap together and get enough momentum to push him for a passing move. But he's got an incredibly good run there, and he was looking onto the inside as we see Alex Patrizio has actually pushed the move down on the inside of Lee Keen McGee and pushed his way up into 4th overall.
Yeah, I saw that move in the foreground here when we were watching that battle between Gordon Haig and Craig Salter. It looks like Gordon has managed to get past Craig as well, so we missed that move coming down into Lodge Corner. So yeah, there's these little pocket battles. I bet they're having a great bit of fun out on track, and not sure what's happened to Andy. Is that Lee? I'm just trying to think. Oh, it was Gordon Haig there, the car that was a little bit further back from this battle we're currently watching. But Lee Kim McGee has managed to make the move past again Alex Patrizio. So these two drivers, you know, the AM driver certainly not paying any respect to the pro driver, and really having a really good battle between the two of them here to try and get the top 4 position. So it's great to see some good racing out on track between these two, and really jostling. Currently got 5.5 minutes left of this second race to go overall, and these two again. Look at Alex just looking down the inside, trying to make it too wide into Druid's corner. Could try and get the cutback. Looks like he might be able to get it done. Does he get that inside line here down from Lodge Corner? And this was probably an exact same passing move as we probably saw the earlier lap out. Yes, it is, and Alex just managing to get through on Lodge Corner, and Lee is probably kicking himself. That's twice in 2 laps that Alex has managed to make that passing move, and you can see a little bit of flashing there from Lee. That's got to be for well played or something like that, because that was a great move there from Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. I just noticed on the timing tower, it looks like Daniel Sedgley is pushing incredibly hard on Alexander Square. He did flicker into 2nd position on the timing tower for a split second there. So the Olympus Esports driver driving the absolute wheels off of this car at the moment as he comes down to the hairpin of doom. He's gone incredibly late on the brakes there, as we see a little bit of a lockup from Thomas Wangen out front. Does he have the cutback? He does have the cutback. He gets the overspeed on Alexander Scuret, pushes himself slightly in front, and now they're running side by side as they come down Hilltop, coming into turn 5. It's not a corner you want to really run side by side on. Is Alexander Scuret going to yield? It looks like he's... Yeah, Alexander Scuret thinks better of it as Daniel Sedgley up on 2 wheels there on the inside, and fantastic move there to take second in the pro category.
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, it was that setting up move coming down the hairpin of doom, we'll call it. Basically slow in, but was then really fast out, whereas we saw Alex just taking a deeper line in there, so his exit speed wasn't as quick, and Daniel was able to get up onto the inside on the exit and make the move pay coming down into turn number 5 Nickelbrook, and really being able to get that move done, and now finds himself sandwiched in between the two IGL Coltons, 0.5 of a second behind Thomas Wangen, and 3.5 minutes left of this race to go. So it's going to be interesting to see who can win out now that Daniel does have an opportunity to really attack Thomas Wangen for the victory here in race number 2.
Yeah, Thomas Wangen there. I just noticed his previous last time was a 1:30.4, so I'm not sure if he's potentially overheated the tyres, possibly, because Daniel Sedgley behind. His last lap was a 1:29.6, so basically right around half a second faster than the leader Thomas Wangen out in front. But as we're watching Lee King McGee right now and Alex Patrizio trying to run that outside line, but we've seen it work for some and not for others, and unfortunately it's just not giving him the momentum he needs in order to make a move coming through Hilltop. So I don't believe he's going to be close enough going into turn number 5 of Nickelbrook here, and he's going to have to tuck in behind and see what he can do coming down towards Druids.
Yeah, it definitely is. I wonder if he could pull the same move that Alex pulled on him for the last 2 laps here, as he goes extremely wide through Nickelbrook and probably scrubs a little bit, but Alex pretty much did the same line as well. So here we go into Druids for probably the second to last time here in race number 2. Can Lee get a decent line out? No, Alex pretty much has that corner nailed, really. In the previous 2 laps, you see Lee just darting all over the field, just looking for an opportunity. Doesn't happen on this lap, so the battle commences going in to 2 minutes left of this race. So 2 laps left to go in this second race, and who is going to come out on top of the battle here? Looking further back, Craig Salter still trying to look for an opportunity past Gordon Haig, but that gap has increased to 1.2 seconds. So Craig getting a little bit off the pace there from Gordon, but a great battle nonetheless between these 2 drivers, Privateer here and Kim Andre Bortland of Sim Racing Norway. So finally having a decent lap in this second, or decent round in this second race, is Kim Andre Borkland after his earlier escapades coming down into this very hairpin of doom, where he sort of overshot it. In fact, I think it was probably a little bit of a nudge, but we'll leave that one to the stewards. But yeah, coming into the penultimate lap here, Craig Salter still trying to get onto the back of Gordon Haig. But let's have a look back up on Lee King McGee. These 2 are neck and neck for 4th and 5th overall out on track, and at the moment Alex is doing a great defensive job, just trying to keep Lee behind him in that 5th place, and it's very much this corner here that Alex really gets the decent exit speed out of there. You can sort of see the gaps now 3 tenths of a second, so not really gaining a lot there. Closes up a little bit, and here we start the last lap. So can Alex maintain that 4th place, or is Lee King McGee going to be able to make a move? Let's look back up at the front here then. We've got 0.3 of a second Dan Sedgley to Thomas Wangen, 0.5 now from Alexander Scuret to Daniel Sedgley. So Daniel might have an opportunity to try and make a move here on Thomas Wangen, looking for a line into the hairpin. Goes the conventional 18, but just constantly seeing there Thomas Wangen sort of locking up through there. As let's go on board with Alex and just watch the battle that Alex is looking at between Daniel Sedgley and Thomas Wangen in front, coming down into Nickelbrook. I don't believe a passing move is going to be possible here. No, it's not. Cars still glued together. 3/10 of a second coming up the hill, up through Clay Hill, through turn number 5, around turn 7, the water tower into Druids. 8 for the last time in the second race. Looks like Thomas Wangen's managed to get a little bit more of a gap between himself and Daniel Sedgley, so it's really going to be down to this lap now, coming down into Lodge Corner for the last time. Just don't think Daniel's able to get the move done. Thomas covers that off, and here he is from back of the grid, from pit lane in race number 1 to winning here in race number 2. Daniel Sedgley getting second place overall with Alexander Scaret. Let's look back at this race, and it looks indeed Alex Patrizio has managed to hold off the ever onslaught from Lee King McGee to get that 5th place overall. Gordon Haig wins out between the battle between himself and Craig Salter, with Kim Andre Bortland coming home in 8th. I mean, that was a great race, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely incredible. We've seen lots of crazy action very early on, but the battling we've had in those little pockets towards the end here, and all the way to the middle section, absolutely phenomenal. These guys are pushing the cars as hard as they possibly can over some of these corners. Over some of these crests, you're almost seeing the cars just sort of get ever so light and borderline airborne with the amount these guys are pushing.
Definitely is, and Paul Joseph Cliss is just, I think he's quite happy. I think he's certainly going for them clean laps here to get the 2 extra bonus points, because that's relative, the clean lap for 2 extra positions out on track. So it's a valuable asset if you're towards the mid or back end of the field, not really having a battle with them. Trying to keep that 0x is certainly something to bear in mind, to be able to do, I think.
Yeah, the battling's been incredibly close this whole season, hasn't it? That's one nice thing with the Clios. Yes, they don't have that massive amount of power, but they are competitive. They do stay close, just like we do with the Mazdas.
They do indeed. And here are your results of race number 2. Winner Thomas Wangen there from 4th place overall up to 1st. Daniel Sedgley in 2nd, with another good finish for Alexander Scaret in 3rd place. Alex Patrizio really finding his feet here tonight at Oulton Park. 4th place overall after an epic battle with Lee King McGee, who finishes in 5th. Gordon Haig finishes in 6th, the top of the Pro-Am, just ahead of the good battle he had with Craig Salter in 7th place. Kim Andre Bortland in 8th, with Stuart Winness in 9th. Simeon Moldeclef in 10th. Paul Joseph Cliss in 11th. Vega Olsen in 12th. Andy King McGee in 13th. Kieran Smart 7 laps down in 14th place. And Leah Aniston in 14 down, and pretty much didn't take the track in this second race. So Kieran came out towards the end, but I'm not quite sure what happened to him for the start there, our race winner in race number 1. So it's going to be interesting to see what he can do in the 3rd and final race. So we have got a 5-minute break warm-up here for the drivers to go out. I think the only one on track is Gordon Haig. Yeah, there he is, out on track, just brushing up on his skills. But 2 great races. It's not been as super close, but there's been certain battling throughout the field. Certainly in that second race, that was very entertaining to watch, wasn't it, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, I was thoroughly impressed with Daniel Sedgley in that race as well. I mean, just the sheer fact that he's tracking Thomas Wangen down, and I believe if he had a few more laps and a bit more time, he could have actually made the move and gone for that race win. But unfortunately, he's running out of room and running out of the seconds he needed there to make that pass. But this turn number 4, it's just ridiculous, isn't it? Seeing so many little mistakes, and the sheer fact that Clio does not have ABS, it's really running riot with a lot of people on track today.
Certainly is, and that hairpin of doom is certainly catching a few of the drivers out. Really tricky corner. Certainly, you'll be up to like 5th gear in these Clios, and then very quickly having to come down into 1st gear without having, like you said, ABS. So got to be really gentle on the brakes there. And as we see, I think that is probably near enough a carbon copy of Daniel Sedgley, but a great save there from Gordon Haig. And that's how easy you can get caught out by turn number 5 Knickerbrook, which is a very tricky corner, but a very quick one into his into his race as well. But yeah, no, it's going to be good. We got the third race coming up in 2 minutes time, and it's going to be an entertaining one. We got the two main protagonists at the front. It's pity we haven't got Kieran there up the front as well with them to give us our standard freeway battle between the top three pros. But we got a more than worthy substitute of Alex Scarrett, who's had a great round so far.
Yeah, Alex Scarrett is driving fantastically. You know, it's unfortunate that he wasn't able to get a slightly higher position in that previous race, but the closeness in this field. Yes, it is in little pockets once the race gets going and things sort of spread out a tiny bit, but it's fantastic to watch. You know, the Clios are forgiving, aggressive, they're fun, they're fairly hardy. You know, we've seen some incidents there where if that was an LMP or a GT3, for example, things would have gone incredibly sideways. But the Clios are just phenomenal, and I'm really enjoying it. But one thing I do want to talk about, Andy, obviously in this little intermission in the last minute we have, upcoming seasons and series that we may have in the wings.
Yeah, we've obviously come into the end now of this one's only got 2 rounds left, so we're looking at doing a short Mazda series in the summer months to keep you all entertained. We're also going to look at doing the world famous Super Trucks series. That is hotly anticipated, I think, by everybody. Literally, if you don't know about it, it is zero incident limits, no track limits, and pretty much you have to be an absolute whopper to even get a penalty in that, because you know contacts do happen and are allowed in that. It is absolutely carnage, but it is such brilliant fun out on track. You can see a few of the rounds from Apex Racing TV of a series they did in the Super Trucks just to get a flavour of what it's going to be all about, but we're looking at getting that. Then we've got the season 3 of the GT3s coming back in November. We're going to make it bigger and better next season, but it's certainly going to be interesting. But we do have the grid here for race number 3. Thomas Wangen is your pole sitter. Daniel Secchi in second with Alexander Scarrett in third. Alex Patricio in fourth. Lee King McGee in fifth. Gordon Hagen 6th. Craig Salter 7th. Kim Andre Bolton 8th. Stuart Winness in 9th. Simeon Motorclef in 10th with Paul Joseph Clist in 11th with Virgo Olsen in 12th. In 13th, we got Andy King McGee, Kieran Smart. Let's see what he can do from the back of the field, and Leo Anderson in 15th place overall. So it's certainly going to be interesting out on track. But let's have a look at the front runners. Why is that? It's probably because he's not out on track yet. So the front two are not there. So there's Thomas just coming into play, just waiting for Daniel. There he does come on. Have we got Kieran? Yeah, Kieran's joined us for this third race on time. So good luck to you, Kieran. Let's see what you can do in this race. But this is the third and final 20-minute race around Oulton Park Historic Island Circuit. As the red lights are just about to come on here, we are about to get underway and we are racing. And here we go. Oh, there's looked like there was a jump start from one of the pro from the sim race, and I think that was Kim Andre Borglund. So we have to watch him to see if he has to do a drive-through at the moment. Certainly seems to be twitchy off the line. I saw they're back in 5th place. But at the moment, Thomas Wangen getting that whole shot and keeping that pole position. Daniel Secchi, Alexander Scarrett, the top 3 still the same. Alex Patricio there in 4th place. Kim Andre Borglund has had an issue here through down into Cascades, getting it slightly wrong. Whether that was a push or a self-imposed, we can sure find out. In fact, let's have a look. Let's see what happened. Here he is, coming down into Cascades. Let's go on the roll bar with him. Coming down, he's really on the outside. He literally gets his wheels onto the grass, just goes out wide. Classic mistake going down Cascades on the first lap, cold tyres, and finds himself now at the back of the grid. But currently looking at big shakers and movers, Gordon Haig has managed to get up into 3rd place. It looks like there's been a bit of an issue with Thomas Wangen and Alexander Scarrett. They find themselves in 5th and 6th respectively. Let's have a look, see if I've got the replay of what happened. Here we go, let's have a look.
Yeah, is it the hairpin of doom?
think it might well be here, coming down into the hairpin. Riding on board with Alex coming down into here. Let's have a look, see what happens. Oh, wow. Oh, what Kieran. Whoa, that was a bullet there from Kieran. It came from nowhere. So that was caused, I think, by Alex hitting into the back of Daniel and Daniel hitting into Thomas, but sort of cascading Thomas off and cascading Alex, and Daniel really profited from that with the IGL Coatings team member in third. But wow, Stuart, I mean, that was I know I said you had to make up some room, but wow, that was I need to watch that again because that was quite impressive. Let's have a look at what happens here with Kieran coming down here through into Lakeside. Thinking, I've got to try to make up positions here. What happened? Oh, no, he got hit from the outside. That was one of the other Track Scotland. Not the Sim Racing Norway. Who was that? Wow, it's all happened here, as it normally does in this third race. But he certainly seemed to be helped in the department of that spearing move into the hairpin. Not sure who that was. It looked like one of the Sim Racing guys.
Yeah, potentially. I couldn't track it either on the timing tower, but that's a bit crazy. So interesting stuff. I mean, I was just looking as well. Kieran Smart, he's also benefited majorly from that. He's jumped up 8 places from the start of this race, and over a 15-car grid, 8 places is pretty phenomenal. But that does put Thomas Wangan currently at the moment down into P3 with Alex Patrizio in front, and he is actually pushing Daniel Sedgley a little bit there. Only 0.3 of a second. So it's going to be interesting to see who will actually win out this race, because if Alex Patrizio can put Daniel Sedgley under enough pressure, you're going to find that we may have an AM winner in the Clio Cup round 3, which would be insane. It'd be crazy.
It certainly would be, and but Alex has certainly had the round of his life here at Oulton Park, and as you can see here, is really challenging at the moment Daniel Sedgley for the race win overall, the AM driver. Didn't know he had fast laps in him, but is very prone to making slight little mistakes out on track, and I'm pretty sure he won't mind me saying that. But here at Oulton Park, it's certainly all come right for him. Whatever he's tried has worked. And saw him the last time with Lee King McGee having a great battle and coming out on top of that. Is he going to be able to do the same again? Let's have a look here. Is he going to do his signature move? I think Daniel Sedgley has sort of boxed off that inside move that we saw him do twice onto Lee King McGee. But you can see how much he's closing up on that part of the section. Really has that part of the section nailed out on track.
Yeah, just watching that, Alex Patrizio, just for some reason, coming out of Druids towards Lodge Corner, he's just got that absolutely nailed. I mean, he's going down there in a closing speed that we haven't seen from even, the likes of the front runners of the pros. So he makes up all of his time there, and unfortunately just sort of like leans away and loses that section time heading towards the lap, heading through the lap. It's not good to see him fall away like that, but incredible to see him even keeping up close with the front runners and the pros.
Certainly is, as we join back in 9th place with Paul Joseph Clear, still 0.8 of a second behind one of his competitors for second place overall in the Anfield Vergard Olsen Leah of Sim Racing Norway. So hopefully has a little bit of battling, because I think he's in the first 2 races has been cut adrift slightly, and is probably going for the 0Xs to get the extra positions. But Vegard Olsen there in 8th place is trying to follow Stuart Wyness, and after his it was Stuart. No, yeah, it was Stuart that had the spearing tackle into that first one. So I probably did a misjudge there. I thought that was Kieran that came piling down into the first one, but I think it was. Yeah, I think it was. Stuart Wyness, but it's very much seemed to get a little bit of a helping hand in there. But fair play to him, he was flashing his lights like a lunatic, so realising that he was never going to stop for that hairpin there. But yeah, currently up in P7th at the moment. Just 1 place in front is Kieran Smart, who is up 8 places in this third race. It's the old saying, if only, isn't it? If only he came onto the grid after that cracking first race, because he certainly had the pace over the rest of the field, to see how much he would have had the pace with being up with Thomas Wangen and Daniel Sedgley. But yeah, he has another substitute in Track Scotland of Alex Patrizio, who's currently the AM, well hitting above his weight here, fighting out for the win of this race.
Yeah, it does seem like for some reason that Clio and Oulton Park, is absolutely gelling with this at the moment. It could be the setup, it could be the practice he's put in, but to see an AM running and slightly tracking down Daniel Sedgley at the front there, absolutely phenomenal. But as you mentioned before, if he is prone to making slight mistakes, that's one thing that does come with experience. You'll see the pros, they're very calculating. They don't make too many mistakes as Daniel Sedgley runs a little bit wide onto the grass there, and that really has given Alex Patrizio the run. But no, I think it's better of it. He was thinking potentially about a move down the inside, but deciding right now to stay in the slipstream of Daniel Sedgley, keep Thomas Wangen behind, and just bide his time. Put Daniel under a bit of pressure and make a move when he can.
Definitely is. Certainly, like you said, has that coming out of Druid's corner now. Daniel Sedgley getting it slightly a little bit wrong, giving the opportunity to Alex to close that gap up. But yeah, this is going to be a good battle to watch, and hopefully Alex can keep it there and put a lot of pressure. You got Thomas Wangen in third place at the moment, not able to get past the AM driver either. So Alex is doing a sterling job on track. Let's look further back. Lee King McGee is closing the gap now on to Paul Joseph Clist for P9th overall. Not sure what happened to Lee. Probably got caught up in them first lap incidents here in race number 3, but trying to be on a bit of a comeback. Very much a fun race, I think, really, for Lee. His main target being the leader in the Pro-Am field in the GC3. It's always good to have races where there's not a lot of pressure. It's a bit of a fun event that you can come out and have a little bit of fun in a car that you don't normally drive, as we watch him here. Just getting the passing move done on Paul Joseph Clist coming through. Nick Blood going extremely wide. Is he going to miss the wall? Yes, he does and just gives the position back to PJC.
Yeah, PJC thought I'm just going to let him through, quick dab of the brakes, and get him out of my sights and work on running my own race and keeping it clean. But then he sees out of his left window, Lee King McGee heading straight for the barrier, and God knows how he actually managed to make that there and not collect it and end up spinning out into the middle of the track. So, but riding on board right now with Alexander Scrett for IGL Coatings, with it looks like Kieran Smart behind him for a bit of company. Oh gosh, these guys are pushing the Clios incredibly hard, running slightly out onto the grass there. Alexander Scrett, fantastic racing, and all 3 races have been pretty decent for him tonight.
Yeah, and I think this is his worst result so far in race number 3. Currently in 5th place, has Kieran Smart behind him 0.2 of a second. We saw Kieran Smart win that first race and somehow didn't come out for the second race, missed the start, and probably had to go away and do something in real life, but missed the start and missed the opportunity to make it free from free. It'd be good to see him up at the front end with Daniel Sedgley and Thomas Wangen, where we normally see them free in these Clio Cup racing. But trying to on a fight back, he's doing well at the moment. Currently up 8 positions. Does have Alexander Scrett, and he's looking down the inside here into Druids. So this is going to be a side-by-side affair through Druids. Are they going to get through safely? Just about. And yeah, makes the move stick. So currently up into P5, and then has 3.6 seconds to try and make up to Gordon Haig in front of him. That's up 9 positions from where he started in this race.
Yeah, fantastic move by him there, by Kieran Smart. Running it around the outside on a competitor is absolutely phenomenal. But cracking move for him. Riding on board again with Alex Patrizio. He's like you said, he's basically seal clubbing at the moment with this performance that he's putting in. Still keeping Daniel Sedgley within that sort of 0.3. He's even got a slight run here coming down into turn number 4, the old hairpin of doom, which has been named by one of the other drivers. But Alex Patrizio doing a fantastic job. I mean, he's in a pro sandwich at the moment, and he's holding his own. He's not getting too flustered. He's not doing anything silly. Not making any big mistakes. He's just maintaining that balance and doing what he can, and it's paying well for him. And he's in P2 overall.
Yeah, it definitely is. And two extremely fast pro drivers around him as well to push him along, because any sort of mistake and Thomas Wangen will capitalise on that as well. But at the moment, doing an exceptional job, and this is very much his couple of bends here coming out of Druids, where he really has got it nailed and able to claw back some of the time and push out a little bit of time over Thomas Wangen in third place. So doing a great job. Currently 11 minutes, nearly 12 minutes into this third race here tonight. We have only 12 minutes left of this race to go, and yes, you are not seeing it wrong. We do have an AM driver currently in P2 overall, Alex Patrizio. He's had a cracking round here today, really been his round of choice in this car here today. So just needs to get around this third race here with decent points. Even if he gets into third place, that is still a big achievement for the AM drivers. You can see the nearest AM is in P8 at the moment, which is Vergal Oulton. So having a great race overall. Let's just have a look further back down the field of what we've got. Kieran Smart currently in 5th place. Let's look further back. Craig Salter obviously had that issue coming down into the hairpin of doom turn 4 in the start of this race. Was an unfortunate bystander of an incident, so running around currently in P12. Simeon Moldeclev currently a lap down. He is decided to not go out. He's 8 laps down, so he is out of this race. So Rick, yeah, I know you want to get him to the flag, mate, but he's currently 8 laps down now. I think he's out of this this third race here. Was hopeful of big things from him, Tom, today, weren't you?
Yeah, I think Simeon's, he's in the pits having a brew, isn't he? He's got the kettle on and just sort of sitting with his feet up, maybe a bit flustered from the earlier rounds where he had a bit of an incident. But Clios aren't really his strong point. Fantastically fast driver in the GT3s, but yeah, not Simeon's round tonight, unfortunately, and back to the drawing board with that one. But riding on board again right now with Daniel Sedgley up at the front of the race. Still got Alex Patrizio close for company. Thomas Wangen has closed the gap ever so slightly, but I mean, Alex Patrizio, what is going on with his corner exit? He's just absolutely on it. I mean, he's looking for a move at the moment. He goes to the outside, thinks about it on the inside, tries to get it slowed, can't quite make it, but God, he's almost hitting the back bumper of Daniel Sedgley, and that's going to unfortunately allow Thomas Wangen to come in now on down the final straight here on Hilltop. But just phenomenal racing from Alexander Patrizio at the moment. I really hope he comes in for an interview after this race so we can ask him what his trade secret is. I'm
sure he will. I think he has in the previous round, so he'll be flying high and stoked with his results here. But this is the closest battle on track, and Alex going slightly defensive here. You can see Thomas Wangen. Wow, what a move there coming into the water tower just even before we got into Druids, making the move. You saw Alex going a little bit wide there through water tower, maybe just letting through Thomas Wangen to hook up onto the back end of him, because like I said, even if it's third overall, it's still an overall podium in the race, and he is still 5 positions ahead of his nearest rival. So hopefully that was a tactical move, and if it is, that'll be a massive stroke from him, because he's only really losing 1 point from finishing second to third, and he'll be gaining a mountain of points. Currently, I think he was 3rd or 4th in the championship overall. So this will push him up as we see him going down the inside there into Cascades. That was a very optimistic move there from Alex. Alex, you don't want to be taking yourself out at this late stage, mate.
Yeah, he's got Thomas Wangen in front of him, the very, very fast pro driver from GT3 and also in the Clios. He thinks he can make a move on him at the moment, but just runs a little bit wide there coming into turn number 4, the old hairpin of doom, and that's allowed Thomas Wangen to start pushing away. But looking at the camera right now, Thomas Wangen, as he's sitting there in 5th gear, pootling along in the Clio on that unbelievably nice looking setup, running the full triples there and direct drive. So it's quite nice that we're able to actually see what gear he is running in coming through these corners. But now the question is, Andy, can Thomas Wangen track down Daniel Sedgley with just 4 minutes to go?
I think the problem is he's got Alex Patrizio right behind him trying to make some moves on him. So I think he's going to have one eye forward and one eye back like a chameleon, just to see what's going on around him. And if he takes his eye off too much of Daniel Sedgley in front of him, you can see the gap there, 1.2 seconds. So, you know, he's really going to lose sight of Daniel. It's out of that slipstream effect of these Clios, so he really needs to try and concentrate going forward and try and get above that 1 second to himself, to Alex, to be able to push on, because Alex at the moment is not letting Thomas Wangen go, and still got an opportunity for that third place. You start seeing maybe he's just decided either he's pushed the tyres too hard so far. Currently have 3 minutes left of this race, so 2 laps remaining in this third race, and has decided, you know what, I've got a sizable gap to myself to Gordon Haig in 4th place, and I can just sit back now, enjoy the reap the rewards of being 3rd overall, top and by 5 places, and gaining the valuable points that are going to come to us. This round is really going to shoot him up the leaderboard in that AM status.
Yeah, you know, it's a fantastic job by him. And I mean, if you can get a podium overall as an AM, I mean, that is just unbelievable. So fantastic driving by him. But as we're riding on board, you know, with Thomas Wangen, he's still pushing as hard as he can. He's not really letting off. He's got Daniel Sedgley in his sights there, just tracking away. But he's closing ever so slightly, but just cannot maintain the pace that's needed to reel Daniel in. As we see, I think it was Kieran Smart running a little bit on the grass there. Obviously overdriving the car a little bit, trying to make up some places and catch on to Gordon Haig. But as we're running into the final minutes here, I just don't think Thomas Wangen's going to do it. It's going to be a fantastic win for Daniel Sedgley of Olympus Esports if he can maintain the pace. Yeah,
it definitely is. I mean, after his earlier race 1 incident round, Nickelbrook has really made up for it in race 2 and 3, and at the moment looks on course to get that race win here in race number 3. 1.3 seconds, so lead's gone out by about a 1/10 of a second. Alex Patricio currently 1.1 second behind Thomas Wangen, and that's no mean feat. I'd love to be able to stay close, as we see Thomas there just locking up slightly into the corner. But yeah, it's good to see him, and good to see his rig. I like his big number where you can see his gears coming up there on the screen. So has a very expensive setup there going on.
Yeah, he's obviously you know, put the pennies in, and or whatever the currency is in Norway. I'm not too sure, but he's spending the money and putting in the practice, and he's obviously a dedicated sim racer. And you know, it takes a lot of time to gain yourself a decent rig and a decent setup, and it is a progression over time. It's not something that, you know, a lot of people don't just jump out and buy direct drive, triple screens and everything from the get go. But it doesn't necessarily mean it makes you crazy fast. It just shows that you're a dedicated racer.
Yeah, it does. You want to progress on, you know, all the gear that's available now. It's getting almost like a race car. You can get all the sim moving rigs as well. It's just gained so much traction in what the drivers get offered as we watch Victor Oulton, which was our closest battle, but that sort of scuppered away there with that slight little mistake there, going 1.5 behind Lee King McGee. The rest of the field, as we can see, pretty much spread out. Kieran Smart there in 5th place overall, and our closest battle is with that first and second place here, as we're on the last lap. We're trying to see Thomas Wangen close that gap down now, 0.8 of a second to Daniel Sedgley, and that time is coming down every single lap here. Is he got an opportunity? This is the last lap here, but really putting it all on the edge here just to try and close the gap. I just think that the distance is too far. We're going into Druids now, and fastly running out of time on track to make it pay, but it's certainly closed up the gap in the air. This is going to be a phenomenal lap from Thomas Wangen here on the final lap of race number 3.
Yeah, Thomas Wangen's got, you know, he's got too much work to do, in my opinion. Daniel Sedgley's just managed to run this race as good as anybody could expect, and he's found himself just leading the way out and taking the win from Thomas Wangen.
Certainly is. So Daniel Sedgley takes the race win here at number 3. Thomas Wangen in second. Alex Patricio, great race for him, getting that final place on the podium. Gordon Haig taking over your Pro-Am field win in P4. Kieran Smart started from the back of the grid, ended up 9 places up into P5. So it's what ifs for Kieran there overall. If he had managed to come in for the second race, but unfortunately didn't take the grid, so ended up starting from the pits and many laps down. But looking further back, Vega Olsen second overall in the AM, Paul Joseph Clist in third, and Craig Salter after that earlier issue there in P12. So bit of controversy at the start of this race, coming down through Cascades and then following on into the hairpin of doom turn number 4, but overall, a great race, and obviously, driver of the day certainly has to go to Alex Patricio. Drove out of his skin there in the race. So let's take you through the results of this third race. So, Daniel Sedgley is your winner here in race number 3. Thomas Wangen in second, Alex Patricio in third, Gordon Haig in fourth, Kieran Smart in fifth with Alexander Squaret in sixth, Stuart Winness in seventh with Lee King McGee in eighth, Vega Olsen in ninth with Kim Andre Portland in 10th, Paul Joseph Clist in 11th for Craig Salter in 12th, Simeon Moldeclev in 13th, Andy King McGee in 14th, 14 lap down, and Leah Anderson. So the last 3 failed to... Well, Leah didn't take the grid, neither did Andy King McGee, so it might have been a track too far for Andy, but I'm pretty sure we'll see him out in the next round. So there's your results overall for the third race. It's been an interesting round. It's not been as close as I probably thought it would be around Oulton Park, but we've had some epic battling out on track, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, the battling's been absolutely ridiculous. I've got to be honest, I'm quite... as for seeing somebody in their Clio doing reverse donuts there. Yeah, you know, I have to be honest, I'm a little bit sad that we didn't see anybody take the jump at the end, but a bit of a sad story in a couple of the races, some fantastic battling in others. You know, the Clios, they give it all to you, don't they? They don't disappoint as far as the viewer's perspective goes, but I imagine there's going to be some interesting penalties being put in, and you know, we'll have to see what happens coming on into further rounds. Yeah,
we did, and I suppose that's the thing, isn't it? With the sprint races, it's always them fine margins in iRacing of when you're putting on leagues, because you're always going to get controversy in the sprint races because everybody is sort of vying for the positions. They've only got either 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is. Anything below sort of the hour marker makes it almost like a sprint race, and everyone's going sort of gun-ho into the rounds, and that's where you get the incidences that are a little bit more controversial, shall we say, than when we have the longer races, so people feel that they don't need to make the moves that probably some of them do make to try and make the positions tell. But it was a good round, and obviously I'm just reading what Craig is saying on there. A bit disappointing to end tonight there. Otherwise, a great race. Yeah, I mean, there was, Craig, you had some great races. Race 2 was a good one. You had a really good battle with Gordon overall, and it's just them fine margins, and the problem is with these shorter sprint races as well, is when you get into an incident, it's very hard to come back from it, being that it's such a small time frame to be able to do. So if you get caught up in incidents, then that's pretty much your race paid in these shorter events.
Yeah, that's one thing, isn't it? Like you said with the sprint races, you know, it's an aggressive form of racing. That's why it works well with Clios, for example. You couldn't have this sort of sprint racing in LMPs because you'd have some contacts and everybody would crash and die and the cars would be ruined, and you know there'd be no stream for us to watch. But I'd almost like to see the Clios have maybe an endurance round thrown in, sort of here or there, to stretch things out a little bit, to lean away from that slight aggression. You know, everybody wants to keep it clean as much as they can, but you know, as soon as you get behind the wheel of these little battle cars, everybody wants to go for it and see what they can do. Yeah,
definitely do. It looks like nobody's joined us as well into the comms booth, which is a bit unusual. Normally I have a few drivers. We'll give them a couple of minutes to see if anybody's going to come and join us for a chat. Either they're all busy out celebrating or drinking their sorrows. I'm not sure which one would pertain to each driver, but yeah, I love these sort of racing. They're great for the viewers. The viewers can see like a lot of action on track. You know, I love these small tin top cars, the Clio, the Mazdas. I think it takes you back to your grassroots as well when you're racing, to have the little small. I love the fact that, you know, you make a slight mistake, and that's not your race over. Whereas when you're the faster cars like the GT3 or higher, you make a mistake or whatever, and it takes you an eternity to try and get back up, because everybody's making slight little mistakes on track. It gives you the real opportunity in these small tin top cars to make your way back up the field. And yeah, it just takes me back to the days when I first started iRacing. I'm not by any stretch of the imagination any good at iRacing, but you know, it takes you back to them days when you were racing around in the little Mazdas that we only had. But it's great now that there's a lot more choice for new races on iRacing to come into. You've got this one, you've got the Skip Barbers, you got loads of new cars, the Formula Vs, so you can go straight into single seaters. iRacing have done a really good job for new entries for different cars that you can drive, because it always used to be just the Mazda, didn't it?
Yeah, the Mazdas is the bread and butter, isn't it? You know, when you start out in iRacing, that's the one thing that they basically force you to drive, and that's what you teach and learn racecraft in. It's a fantastic car, and that's why there's so many different leagues and things out there that give you that close battling. And I've had some phenomenal races in the Mazdas, but unfortunately, when you start at the beginning, you also have some not so fantastic races. So, but tonight, I think you know, overall the racing was absolutely fantastic. We've had some really, really close battles, and you know, seeing a pro come in third overall, an AM come in third overall, that's just phenomenal. I mean, I really wish Alex had jumped into the comms booth so we could have a little chat with him. But you know, real life does come first, obviously, and I imagine he's got something else to do. But I'll send him a message in our Discord and let him know that we were blown away by his performance tonight.
Definitely was, but no driver's going to come and join us, so I think that's relatively it for tonight then here at Oulton Park, the historic island layout. Very interesting race. It's going to mix up the championship, certainly in that Anfield, with Alex Patricio having a great race overall, and the top of the pro standings as well will get shaken up a little bit overall as well. But it's been some great racing out on track, by always. Thank you very much for joining us here on our Performance Link YouTube channel. Please think about giving us a like, and if you haven't already, we are so close to getting the magical 500 subscribers, and we really would appreciate your support in trying to get to that milestone and then push on with the channel. Like I said, we got quite a few things coming up. We've got the round number 10 Twin Ring Motegi of the GT3 coming up on Sunday for you to run. That's the hour and 10 minute format A, so that one should be interesting. A lot of the drivers, speaking to them last week, hadn't really raced around that track, but I'm seeing a lot of positive comments in the Discord channel about how good it's going to be to race in. So we got that one to look forward to on Sunday night. Then we come back to round number 4 in 2 weeks' time, I believe, in this Clio Cup. We've got break week next week. Then there's the 6 hour of the Glen. And then we're back for the final 2 rounds in 2 weeks of the Clio Cup, as well as the GT3. And like I said, you know, we are looking at doing a Mazda. We're going to try and do a short Mazda series over the summer months. Also try and get a super trucks up and running. So there's plenty of things to keep your eye out for. Come and join our Discord if you want to get involved on track with the races, whether it's GT3, the small tin top cars, or the super trucks. You know, please come across to our Discord, or just come in and just say hello and tell us what we're doing good and what we're doing bad. But apart from that, my name is Andy Thompson. I've got Tom Bingham next to me in the commentary booth, so thank you very much, Tom, for us. But from tonight here at Oulton Park, we're going to say good night.
Good night.